Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 27, 2021. The Jamaica Railway Corporation will be setting up train transportation for students going from Old Harbour and Linstead into Spanish Town. Transport Minister Robert Montague says that in addition to students, teachers, parents, healthcare and other essential workers will be prioritized when the service begins in September. It's being led by the Jamaica Railway Corporation, JRC.
In partnership with the JUTC and the Ministry of Education, we are hoping to move our children from Old Harbour and Linstead into Spanish Town by train. Then the JUTC will pick them up and drop them off at the various schools in Spanish Town.
Minister Montague was delivering his sectoral presentation in Parliament on Wednesday. He says the school train service is supported by recent developments, including the installation of a solar light project at the JRC's Kingston branch. The Transport Ministry is also working closely with the Jamaica Heritage Trust to restore railway station houses, starting with the Old Harbour Station House this fiscal year. In the meantime, the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, has postponed all upcoming exit exams by 2 weeks following regional consultations. The news was revealed by CXC Registrar Dr. Wayne Wesley during a virtual live update yesterday.
This will provide candidates with extra time to prepare for the examinations. Therefore, examinations will commence on Thursday, the 28th of June, 2021, with release of results the last week in September to the first week in October as previously communicated.
At the same time, Dr. Wesley says that after careful consideration of all pertinent issues, the Council has also agreed that the administration of all papers this year will be maintained in their original forms.
That is, for CAPE and CSEC, papers 1, 2, and 3-1 school-based assessment, or paper 3-2 for private candidates, and for CCSLC, papers 1 and 2.
The deadline for candidates to register their intent to defer from the examinations has been extended to May 31, while the deadline for SBA submissions has also been extended to June 30. In other news, the Ministry of National Security will be piloting several pieces of legislation that are critical to bolstering public safety. Key among these are the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organizations Amendment Bill 2021, the Firearms Licensing Act, and the Trafficking in Persons Act. The Corrections Act and the regulations for the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, are also on the legislative agenda. Portfolio Minister Dr. Horace Chang provided details during his sectoral presentation on Tuesday. He says the Firearms Act will be brought to Parliament in a few weeks, while the Trafficking in Persons Act will be amended to replace the option of fines with custodial sentences.
I wish to place on record that the trafficking in person is high on the agenda of the government and the Ministry of National Security. This government recognizes our obligation to put the requisite measures in place to eliminate or minimize incidents of human trafficking within our country.
Dr. Chang says the policy for trafficking in persons is near completion and is to be taken to Cabinet. He assures that this will be completed by the second quarter of the current legislative year. A water project is being developed at the Reynolds Pier in Ocho Rios as the Ministry of Transport and Mining continues work to expand operations at the location. Portfolio Minister Robert Montague says this will allow the ministry to separate the tourism operations from the industrial activities at the pier.
We are developing a water project as the demand for high alkaline water has increased, and we have 2 high alkaline springs that we are seeking to develop to meet this demand.
Pointing out that the Jamaica Bauxite Mining Limited currently owns 51% of the Reynolds Pier, he says the ministry is moving to regularize the section of the land on which squatting is taking place. Meanwhile, Jamaicans will soon see more reclaimed bauxite mined-out lands being used for the production of oil nut trees to produce and sell castor oil. The Transport and Mining Ministry has finalized an agreement with the Jamaica Castor Oil Grower Association to undertake a program to boost the production of castor oil in the country.
Our castor oil is in great demand worldwide. And we have seen others making products and branding them as Jamaican castor oil.
The mining minister gave the update during his sectoral presentation in Parliament yesterday. With the castor oil industry today being worth millions, Minister Montague says Jamaica is poised to benefit from this lucrative industry, pointing out that the mining industry contributed to 3% of the country's GDP last year. He says using mining lands for castor oil production is likely to boost that number. And finally, the National Social Housing Program has delivered its latest dwelling to a family of 10 in Salt Springs, St. James. The 3-bedroom house was built at a cost of $9 million. At Friday's handing over ceremony, Prime Minister Andrew Holness reiterated government's commitment to giving more Jamaicans access to affordable housing. He says government will be making 30,000 houses available for the low-income housing market. This will be done through several modalities, including the low-cost housing design competition.
So every Jamaican who is in the housing market should be able to find a housing solution that meets their price point. That when you put that with the NHD's borrowing categories, you should be able to get up to $6.5 million borrowing individually. So that puts you well within the affordable housing category.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.